All right, folks, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being with us today. We got a good one for you. We're going to talk about this Amy Coney Barrett testimony that she gave. There's several different takes out there. Obviously, some are very critical of her. They're wondering if she's fit for the job, if she is afraid, and maybe that is having an effect on her ruling. I mean, it's a fair question in this age of political violence where, you could say, hey, is this judge pulling their punches because they don't want their family to get murdered? It's certainly a fair point. It's also just a reminder that I think we all need to be aware of. Rob, you said before the show started that the left is crazy. I mean, that's another thing that we take from this. But the question is, have we done anything, or have our officials done anything to make the modern iteration of the Democrat Party illegal? That would go a long way to solving the whole intimidation. Are you pulling your punches because you want your family to live? We're going to talk about that and much more today on the show. It starts right now.
The Paul Harrell Program.
All right, here we go. Broadcasting from the state of Arkansas. Really do appreciate it. My co-host Rob Spencer is in seat number 2. Rob, how you doing, sir?
Paul, it's an honor to be here. I've kind of watched all of this stuff. I'm interested to talk about it over a little bit. I've got mixed feelings about it, and as I was sharing off air, I look at it from two perspectives. One, she was pointing out how crazy these leftists are and how their rulings could endanger their lives, and she's having to have a very tough conversation with her child. And then from the other lens of, has it changed? She's a human being. I'm not trying to say that she's fearfully adjudicating here, but she's a human being. Has that affected her from a human level of, I don't want to light the fire for these crazies. I don't want to pour gasoline on this crazy crowd with the blue hairs and going to come and blow up my family. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Also, we got Eric Haynes in seat number 3. Eric.
Great to be part of the conversation, gentlemen.
Yes, it's always great to have you, sir. It is. And let's just get into it, shall we? This is the clip that's kind of been making the rounds, 2 minutes, 15 seconds. This is kind of the basis of our segment here. Let's take a listen to what she said yesterday.
So I thought I would just share a little bit about how the threats have affected me and my family personally. They have required me my children to think about and see things that children should not have to see or think about. One example is when threats to my life were particularly intense a few years ago around the time of the Dobbs leak. My security detail sent me home with a bulletproof vest, and I carried it into my house, put it into my bedroom, dropped it down on a table, turned around, and my 12-year-old son was standing in the doorway of my bedroom, and he wanted to know what it was and why I had it, and I didn't know how to respond because maybe I lack imagination, but I didn't expect that performing this service was going to put me in the position of explaining to my children what a bulletproof vest was and why I had to wear one. It's also been reported in the news that roughly 6 weeks ago, I was the victim of a swatting incident. At that point, one of my teenage sons, opened the door to go out with friends and saw in our street, it was full of police cars, who had responded to a false report of gunshots and raised voices in my home. I was very, very grateful that I had Supreme Court police outside my home because they were able to stop and meet with and explain to the county police that it had been a false alarm, and so the police did not actually attempt to enter our home. Many of us, me included, have received threatening anonymous deliveries designed to intimidate and harass us. They are often sent in the name of Judge Salas's son, who I think, as you mentioned in the beginning, Mr. Chairman, is deceased because he was killed by a disgruntled lawyer who showed up at Judge Salas's home intending to kill her, but her son, 20 years old at the time, opened the door and took the bullet instead. Her husband, standing behind, was seriously injured. So I think the message on these deliveries being sent in his name is clear. As Justice Kagan said, federal judges across the country, throughout the judiciary, including the Supreme Court, continue to do their jobs without fear or favor, but the threat level is really high.
Okay, so that comment has led a lot of people to speculate, okay, is she competent for the job at this point, right? So here's Eric Prince, okay? Pretty sure, isn't this the guy, this Eric Prince, military, contractor guy, right? Blackwater, right? He says, cowardice in the conduct of your job is unacceptable. You're clearly not worthy to serve. Now, everybody is really angry with her birthright citizenship case, right? I mean, come on, that's what we're on the heels of. That's the big one. He says, your weakness is an embarrassment to every female law enforcement officer who wears body armor daily. Resign and return to private practice where no one will scare you. And then we've got a ton of stuff like that. Even Tim Pool, she says the death threats against Amy Coney Barrett may be impacting her ability to do her job.
I'm there, maybe.
Okay,
that's where I'm saying it. I think that it could be a possibility, and I'll let Eric chime in here as well. But I think for us to just put her in this box of she's running scared, she's running fearful, and I disagree with her decisions, and A and B make C here, or whatever the analogy is. Like we're trying to draw this direct correlation here, and I don't know that there is one, because Amy Coney Barrett, even before this, she's made rulings that I've disagreed with. None particularly come to mind right now, which goes to my lack of preparation for this part. But I will say that I've disagreed with some of her reasoning, and I've shared with you, and we've shared with our audience, that in my free time and my spare time, I like to listen to Supreme Court cases, and I love listening to these incredible minds, save Ketanji Brown Jackson,
incredible minds.
Yes.
Let me qualify that.
Yes.
I think you should qualify that.
Well, and Sotomayor is not very smart as well. But I'll tell you this, Kagan, I disagree with everything Elena Kagan says. That woman is intelligent. She is extremely intelligent. She's just ideologically based, and that's how she's going to rule. And so somebody might argue that Amy Coney Barrett is running scared because of these. There's a lot of people in our comments, and I don't mean any disrespect to people in our comments that are like, I have no sympathy for her because I disagree with her. Guys, come on. She had to have a conversation with her child about a bulletproof vest and why mommy's job requires her to wear it. We can't be that other side. We can't be them. They're the ones that tried to kill Trump twice. They're the ones who did kill Charlie Kirk. We can't be that side and say, I don't have any sympathy for you because I disagree with you. No, she's more on our team than she's not. Now, she's done some things that I disagree with, absolutely, and I'm very frustrated about the birthright citizenship, because you want to talk about something that would have completely changed the landscape of how we view immigration here in the United States. She had an opportunity and she failed.
To save the country.
Yes.
To save the country.
And I'm so pissed off at her about that. But I, as a parent of a 12-year-old who is literally sitting out in our lobby right now, if I had to have a conversation about why daddy's having to wear a bulletproof vest, I would hope that the other parents who agree with me on the most part ideologically would have some sort of sympathy for why I did that. Okay? Maybe I'm a little bit naive with this stuff, but I appreciated her saying it. Now, I do say that to say that I would like to know what her voting has been, and has it been changed?
Since the Dobbs decision,
correct.
Which is what she was referencing.
Since the Dobbs decision, which is where, she became public enemy number one and all the other ones. I'd like to know. But suffice it to say, I don't think this is a pile-on moment for her speaking out, saying like Benny Johnson, who I agree with mostly, is really piling on her, saying that she's proven that she can't do the job now. I don't know that that's what it was, as much as it was a human moment of a mother sharing her fear.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
What do you think, Eric?
I think there's going to be 12-year-olds. I think there's going to be moms and dads, brothers and sisters that indirectly will be very negatively affected by her ruling, and her ruling
that's a good point.
And how mass migration will affect this country, and her inability to stand up to what I think she probably knew was right. So I'm really frustrated about that. The human element, you mentioned it in the very beginning. The human element is obviously there, but one of the things that's not lost on me in this whole conversation is that are any of the activist obstructionist judges that are lobbying rulings against Trump's executive orders every time he does everything, are any of those judges having these kind of problems?
No, they're not. That's a great point.
Have you heard from any activist judges that have had these conversations like this? No. This is not who we are as conservatives. So it's frustrating that, a so-called conservative-leaning Supreme Court judge is, again, the one having these problems. And do we not think that she saw Charlie Kirk get shot?
Yeah.
And
for
that
the
it
words
had
that he spoke.
it have had effect on everyone in this country and probably throughout the world because everybody saw it. And everybody at that point was hit in the face with the reality of that these people are crazy. Mm-hmm. And there is no limits to what they'll do. And I think she's just scared. I don't know if she's too scared to do her job yet, but some of the things that she's saying now makes me wonder, like, what are we in for?
Yeah.
For the next run of decisions that come out.
I think.
Where are you going to be?
I think we have to have. I think this kind of highlights a point that if you're going to save the country, and I don't think Coney Barrett is obviously, she doesn't know what time it is, or she would have made a different ruling. If you really want to save the country, then you have to be willing to give your life to do it in these positions. And for somebody to really take the bull by the horns and go in and make the reforms necessary, make the rulings that are necessary, crack down on the leftist violence. I mean, there's all these different pieces to play, whether you're a legislator, whether you're a president or whatever, or whether you're a judge. The pressure, if you're going to do what's right, the evil is going to want to kill you, want you dead. So we have to have people, and I would say arguably men, they're the ones that are going to be just more willing to, hey, you'll have to kill me before I stop. And matter of fact, I
Thank you, Justice Thomas.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Justice Thomas
Before you
said.
lead into that, because our comments will agree on this, let me read a few of the comments there that completely agree with your sentiment here. From Shell Bell, she's afraid to do her job. It's obvious she needs to be removed from her seat. If she can't stand for what she believes in, she should step down. That's JG is me 15. The best is yet to come. This was a powerful one here. I'm a woman, and I believe that no women should serve on the SCOTUS. Wanda, our good friend Wanda Wilson in the comments, unfortunately, this is the world we live in. Her kids need to learn that now. Life sucks. So, I mean, the sentiments there, but Bucklebrush Jones, who's a great follow here, if you're scared and you can't rule based on the Constitution, she needs to resign.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a lot of the sentiment here.
There's plenty of really good moms and dads that put on bulletproof vests and go to work every day and serve their state, city,
or
municipality.
Firemen.
That's what I'm. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Maybe I'm sitting here reading these comments and listening to all this stuff and sort of changing my perspective on it. I just heard, guys. I heard a mom talking today.
Well, and that to the lady in the comments.
Maybe
she should be at home raising her kids. And
because what is the
not to mention they need what is it, like a couple $100 million more in security? That's the whole point of them going to this committee, is like they're asking for money. And I think the tab was like a couple $100 million in additional security and all that goes along with that. So, I mean...
Well, I believe that our Supreme Court should have every bit of security that they need. I mean, because we're spending money on things that are totally irrelevant,
the Somalis should definitely pay for this.
Absolutely. Yeah, they got
The Leering Center has plenty of money to pay for her security.
$300 million a day.
It's got a suitcase full of cash there,
Yeah.
But we spend money on mating habits of turtles in Russia and all of this stuff. I think our Supreme Court justices, the highest court in the land, can get better protection here. And it sounded like she had it, which prevented a SWAT the swatting of her stuff. But I think that, man, did you imagine? You've been covering this for forever, Paul. Would you have imagined 15 years ago that this type of reaction, especially as roughly 15 years ago, Kagan was getting confirmed, and Lindsey Graham's clip is going around about this phenomenally human moment between a staunch Republican and a staunch Democrat in her confirmation for the Supreme Court. Lindsey Graham asked her what she was doing on Christmas. Mm-hmm. And she went into a legal thing thinking he was talking about something else. And he's like, I'm just literally asking what you were doing for Christmas. And she's like, well.
Just wondering if you were with your family.
Yeah. And he goes, and she's
like, I was at a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. She's like, as a devout Jew, I was sitting at a Chinese restaurant. She wasn't celebrating Christmas, right? And so it was just a great thing. And she even said here recently that that's when she was appointed to the Supreme Court. But what we see are these incredible personalities: Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Scalise. Remember, Scalise was he was the antithesis of Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
I mean Scalia.
Scalia. Sorry, I said Scalise.
Yeah.
Anthony Scalia. Yeah,
Antonin Scalia.
Anthony Scalia. My gosh,
Steve
man.
Scalise is the guy that was shot.
I'm getting my
softball
the
field.
softball field. Yeah, sorry, getting my people. But Scalia.
You're good.
And it came out that him and Ruth Bader Ginsburg were friends, but total opposites there. Both intelligent, legal minds, incredible personalities. Everybody in the country knew who they were, and it was like a good thing that we knew who they were. At this point, right now, you've got people like Amy Coney Barrett, who's disliked by both sides. And that's just usually not a good formula for a Supreme Court justice if your own side, quote, your own party over here is feeling like you can't do the job. It wouldn't shock me if she did resign at some point, because why put up with all of this stuff, if she's worried about wearing a bulletproof vest? I don't know.
Yeah, to the point earlier, the woman in the comments saying, I'm a woman and I don't want a female Supreme Court justice. R.N. McIntyre writes this: is this bad from Barrett admitting weakness and the effectiveness of leftist terror? Yes, but to be honest, this is not on her. Women should not be in this role. They should not hold this position for this exact reason. But she didn't put herself there. The administration did. The conservative movement did, because for all of their talk about knowing what a woman is, they don't. They embrace feminism. They embrace the lie of egalitarianism. They make DEI appointments to please popular political narratives, and now the price comes due. I mean, she was Ruth Bader Ginsburg's replacement, correct? So the idea of Republicans' knee-jerk reaction was, it has to be a woman. We can't, it has to be a woman. We have to replace woman for woman. At least that's what I think. The administration should have inflicted absolutely draconian punishments for leftist violence, grand spectacles of raw authority, mass arrests, comically long sentences, raids in the middle of the night, leaving progressives terrified to sleep. Instead, they did nothing, watched more leftist violence unfold, and doubled down on nothing while fighting a foreign war for a foreign government. Barrett is weak and useless, but she should have never been here in the first place, and conservatives have only themselves to blame. It's an interesting take. And again, compare, I'm going to get to this video now.
Yeah.
And feel free to respond to that post after this. Compare this. This was at a time when, I think Clarence Thomas, he knew what a threat he was to the entire leftist narrative.
He gave them the playbook. He gave them the Kavanaugh playbook prior, because you remember what they were coming at him was for sexual misconduct.
Right, exactly.
And,
exactly.
They were trying to take down the first black man
who was a conservative, an originalist.
Yeah, first African American.
Right, on the court. They didn't want Republicans to get that victory.
Correct.
Right? They still hate it. But here it is.
I'd rather die than withdraw. If they're gonna kill me, they're gonna kill me.
Yeah.
What else does he say?
Yeah.
So you'd still
Last
like
of the
to serve
Mohicans
on the
music in
Supreme
the
Court?
background.
I'd rather die than withdraw from the process. Not for
Look
the
at Sleepy
purpose
Joe.
of serving on the Supreme Court, but for the purpose of not being driven out of this process.
There you go.
I will not be scared. I don't like bullies. I've never run from bullies. I never cry uncle, and I'm not going to cry uncle today, whether I want to be on the Supreme Court or not.
So I thought I would just share a little bit about how the threats have affected me and my family personally. They have required me to, my children, to think about and see things that children should not have to see or think about. One example.
All right, so we've
is
heard
when
the statement.
Yeah, we've heard that.
The difference is stark, and I know, to be fair to her, she's just talking about what happened to her so they can get more funding for security, right? So it isn't quite an apples to apples comparison. It is slightly different. But she just made a ruling that could have saved the country, and instead, literally, she's saying now the Constitution says that it's a suicide pact, and that everybody in the whole world, that American citizenship is their birthright. Everybody in the whole world, your birthright, completely undoing the very concept of nations that we've had since man was created. It's crazy. So people are right to suspect that, hey, the left, the threat, the implication of death is having the desired effect.
Okay, so what is the difference? Let's just talk about this. So there are two categories of men. Let's just be honest. There's varying levels in between, but there are beta men and there are alpha men, and we've seen that, right? You'll watch a video where a stranger will walk up and push or slap another man's wife in front of him because they're in an argument on a parking lot about something, call it a parking space, whatever it is. And the beta guy is trying to hey, knock it off, man, whatever. Alpha guy doesn't say a word. Doesn't say a word. It just clicks. And my wife absolutely gets on me all the time because she's like, you are always trying to make the click happen so that you can show your alphaness. Like there was this wreck, and we were on vacation, and there was this wreck just outside of our condo. We were down in Florida for vacation, and there was just this big argument, and I'm running over there, and I'm trying to get involved in it, and she's screaming at me, Rob, get your tail back over here. This has nothing to do with you. Right, but I'm just I'm going to fix this problem, whatever. So,
I love it. I love it.
But we're just, it's why I went to a restaurant. Paul, you called me today while I was having lunch with my daughter. We had a daddy-daughter day today, and we're having lunch. And my daughter tried to sit with her, facing the door. And I'm like, you don't get to do that.
Yeah, no,
Dad sits
right.
facing the door. You're going to have to get on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
I have to see what's going on, and I'm constantly analyzing. She's in her own world here. She doesn't know. So anyway, that's a long point to say there are these alpha men who are looking for it. Clarence Thomas is an alpha. For the love of all, if there ever any doubt, this guy's like, I would rather die. I would rather die. If they're going to kill me, they're going to kill me. Okay? And then you got these beta men, and those are the ones that are like, I withdraw my nomination, all of that stuff. I don't know that we can have those same expectations for women, but I do.
You can't. I think that's the point.
And I think that we do. Of course, I will say this. Go after a mama bear. Go after her kids. If you got a mama bear and you're at the park and you're a threat to her kids, you're gonna see some wild claws, fangs come out. But again, I say that I watched this incredible video of a person, and they were asking, it was conservative women versus liberal women, and they were asking, would you kill for your child? And those conservative women are like, hell yeah, I'd kill them and I'd bury their bodies. I would, give me a shovel right now. They're trying to do that, and the liberal women are like, I don't know that I would kill for my child. Okay, yeah, that's because you don't value children in the first place, which is why you're okay with abortion. I digress. I'm going down a whole rabbit hole here. But Clarence Thomas is an alpha. Clarence Thomas is someone who is not going to be run over. And I do agree with everyone in our comments when they say ultimately that sentiment is we need a Supreme Court who is going to say, I'm not going to get run over. I'm not going to let these intimidations affect my decisions. And So for that reason, maybe y'all are right. Maybe there doesn't need to be these female justice. Can't do anything about the crazy leftists.
Yeah,
crazy leftists.
Again, Joshua Lissick, the ghostwriter, she admitted that fears of leftist violence towards her children alter her decision making on the Supreme Court. I don't know. Did she actually?
I don't know. She didn't admit that. That's a bridge too far.
That's a bridge too far. But the reason I pulled this is because now you understand the risk profiles of, say, George Washington or Scott Adams.
What was the quote you had on the Tim Pool tab? Was that her quote? Can you go back to that?
When your kids open the door to a bunch of cops, and that you could be the end of your child, you're going to think twice when you're issuing your opinions. Yeah.
Okay. So is that where
did she say that?
That's what I'm at. Is that a direct quote? It's quoted, but as you know, and we've talked about before.
Okay, wait a minute.
Sometimes.
Wait a minute. Let's listen. Hold up. If she said that, I completely changed my opinion.
Yeah.
I think this is affecting Amy Coney Barrett's ability to do her job. I genuinely do. She gets swatted, and her son opens the door. I feel you. She must have been having a panic attack. I mean, you got to understand, there was a man who got swatted. And so he opens his door and walks out, and they shot him. I think he died.
Yeah.
Because the cops think some murderer is going to come out. The dude has no idea what's going on, so he walks outside. And there was a story I just watched. It was, I think it was like Midwest Safety. I don't know if you guys watch their videos. The cops went to the wrong house. They get a call for a domestic. They go to the wrong address, and they're banging on the door. The homeowner opens the door holding a gun, and they unload on him. Bro, you're allowed to come to your door with your gun. Someone's banging on your door, you want to see what it is. And the guy wakes up. You got to be careful, too, because cops will just unload on you. Kid are on edge thinking there's aim. That every day. She may have a bulletproof vest, but her son doesn't. So let me just stress this. Do you think that affects her ability to do her job? I do. And I'm not saying it to be a dick or to be mean. I empathize. But I got to tell you, when your kid opens the door to a bunch of cops.
It's his quote. Oh, my gosh, dude. Because I was like, there's no way.
Yeah, okay,
if she said that.
I glanced up there and saw that earlier, and it was in quotations, and I was like, is that her?
He was quoting, he was quoting himself.
He was quoting himself. I thought that was, I'm glad that we clarified
Bad
that.
editing, by the way.
Well, I mean, it's clickbait there, because to put that in quotes beside himself, that's... Of course, it's Tim Pool, so I can't.
So here's another take. Eric Erickson, who has been defending Amy Coney Barrett online, says scared her so much that she voted to deport a bunch of Haitians despite having adopted Haitian children, let the president fire progressive bureaucrats, voted to end abortion, voted to keep Trump on the ballot and give him immunity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So to your point, some of these decisions obviously did come after the Dobbs decision, which is what she's referencing in her comments there. But the larger point about, we all know, we can generalize. There may be rare exceptions, but largely speaking, men are going to not be bullied. They're not going to give way to fear, because that's the way we were created. Women are going to be more about groupthink. They're more about emotions, and they're gonna succumb to the fear much easier, especially when you're talking about saving your kids. To your point earlier.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think we can look at an isolated incident here. Maybe it's just one particular case that we disagree with her on, and say, all right, well, I disagree with her on this case, and it came after the Dobbs decision, after she's talking about all of this stuff. So therefore, A and B, together make C. But I think somebody's going to butcher me in the comments for that. I was like, Rob, that's not how the analogy goes. I don't know how it goes, but regardless, you get what I'm trying to say. You're putting
Scalise.
Yeah, Scalise. Scalia. Hey, that's a simple mistake. That's a simple mistake. Anthony versus Antony.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anywho, I don't even know what I was talking
Anthony.
about.
It's
Antonin.
It's Antonin.
Antonin.
You still got it wrong.
I'm the Supreme Court guy. I'm just fired up about this. So I'm just saying.
That dude was a titan.
Dude, he was incredible.
Supreme Court for a long time.
Yeah, and avid hunter, which I know both of you guys are.
Yeah. Didn't he pass away at some hunting camp or resort
I think so.
or something?
Eric has a small fortune of duck, duck, what are they called? The fake ducks. What are they called? Decoys. I went over to Eric's house, and I was just like, I told my wife.
Fake ducks.
Yeah.
This thing started with
Yeah, I went over to Eric's house one time, and I was in his garage, and I was just like, "Dude, you got a small fortune with waiters and ducks." I'm not a duck hunter, so I don't know, all this stuff.
Man,
I was
fun.
like, "Dude, how much you making at the hospital there? Like, you can afford all this stuff." So
Duck hunting is fun. I don't do a lot of it. I didn't grow up doing it. I mean, I maybe did a couple of times, but I mean,
yeah.
deer hunting consumes me. But I would totally go, Eric,
I've
if I was
shifted-
ever invited.
Well, since then I've shifted my attention significantly over to deer and turkey. They produce a lot more.
Yeah.
They fill my freezer up a lot better than
yeah,
than the little
duck
ducks
hunting
do.
is just so much more social.
It is. It is.
I
I do it with my friends, and it's fantastic.
Listen, I want to climb up in a tree in 15-degree weather
By
with,
yourself.
with a cold gun and just sit there and be quiet and hope they don't smell me.
Here you go.
And then a deer's going to walk past, and I'm just going to try to shoot it,
Picking up on your sarcasm there.
knowing that I'm going to have to field dress this thing and gut it here, or I'm going to have to carry this whole rotting thing back to the butcher. And I'm going to get some deer
Yeah,
meat
baby.
that has no fat on it whatsoever. It's going to be dry. I'm going to make some jerky out of it, possibly. You know what? I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to sit.
Bad take.
I'm going to sit home.
I love
I'm gonna
Paul.
sit home.
I love him, but
I'm going to sit home.
Paul, this is a bad take by
I'm
Rob
getting
right
kicked
here.
off the show today.
Yeah, I'm going to say. like,
You didn't.
there was a
My
band
co-host Eric Haynes is with
Venison.
us, and Rob
Venison is
special
getting
guest.
excoriated on this show. For
Lord have mercy.
Have you ever even tried to do that? I mean,
Yeah,
have
I
you done
did
it?
when I was a teenager. I haven't deer hunted
we
since.
make you some back straps and
Okay.
tenderloin, man.
So my first hour on my
Golly.
first day of deer hunting, I shot a deer but could not find it. I just found the red blood trail and all that stuff, but could not find it. So my first hour of my first day, from then on, the only other couple of times that I went, that my Uncle Bobby took me deer hunting, I saw deer, never got a shot at one, never did it, and I was just like, what the heck? I was set up for failure here. I thought, hey, this is easy. First day of the first hour, first hour of the first day, yeah, this is easy. No.
That's why people go hunting in the morning. That's the exact reason why.
It's too damn cold. It's too damn early.
It's just part of the process.
that's why God
though.
made Mr. Buddy heaters.
Yep. And
I got these hot
covered
hands.
blinds.
I got these hot hands that do nothing for my fingertips, which is where the problem is.
Well, to kind of get your masculinity card back.
No, I got it.
Maybe you should take up duck hunting, because the contrast from that, what you just described, is very stark. I went duck hunting to this place one time. It was a multi-tiered blind, okay, with these perfect windows on hinges. So when you're ready, you drop them and the ducks come in. And then it had, at the bottom tier, it had a place for the dog ramp for the dogs to go get the ducks. And then in the middle, they had a full kitchen where they were cooking, biscuits and gravy, sausage, bacon, and everybody's just talking and drinking coffee. And it's like, oh, here come the ducks. And then
that sounds fine.
That's fine.
That sounds fine. If I was with some people, but if I'm just sitting up there in the deer stand for 3 hours just waiting for this dude to walk by so I can hopefully get a shot and eat this corn
It's
that
part
I've
of
thrown
it,
out.
though. The mental,
Yeah.
what would you call that? The
slowdown?
The mental toughness is actually kind of part of it, and that's rewarding when you are on a long hunt and you are, battling the elements and having to stay mentally tough to try to. I mean, that's just part of it.
Y'all crazy.
But it's good. On the other side of it, you're like, this is amazing.
I'll go buy any deer meat that I
you know what
need
you
from
do
the
it-
butcher.
And you know what you do it for? You do it for. I mean, the last deer I killed was I killed a 13-point monster for the Ozarks. For the Ozarks, it was a giant deer. It was 13 points. It was during muzzleloader season, and I hunt at I hunt in a tree at where two hills meet together. So I'm really high up based on where the deer come through, where that bottom. And it was just barely, the sun was barely, getting to shooting light, 30 minutes before sunrise. And all of a sudden, on the other side of the hill, I hear him.
There's a monster.
I hear him, man. And you're just like, and that heart just starts pounding. And you're just like, okay, here he is. Where's he going to go? Well, I can barely see. There's not quite enough light yet. I mean, I could make a shot, but it's going to have to be short. And then he comes down the hill, and he's messing around at that bottom. And then he comes up, And he's like, oh my, I'm like, oh my goodness, he's coming. And now I'm thinking, where am I going to get a shot at? I got to plan it. Okay, he's coming. All right, between those two trees. And then I dropped him at 25 yards, and it was awesome. That's what you live for. You live for that. You live for that sudden.
Yeah.
You live for the deer to all of a sudden,
which happens once,
materialize out of the leaves. There was nothing there. Now there's a deer there.
Yeah,
that's what you do it for. That's what I do it. That's why I do it for anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I'm sure this is all great.
we have a really good setup at our farm up in Missouri. We kill 3 or 4 deer every year. And our processor up there does amazing stuff, keeping our back straps together so that we have full tenderloins. And I'll smoke those and roast those. They cut our ground stuff with pork fat, and so it's as good as ground beef. Tastes fantastic.
Hey, you got to put something with it, don't it?
Way better. They'll make deer breakfast sausage, snack sticks with or without jalapenos and cheese. I mean, we fill 3 freezers, in the winter with venison, and it's just, it takes.
Listen,
it's incredible.
You freeze your ass off out there, and bring me the spoils.
I was gonna say I'll be bringing you some spoils here real soon. We're gonna have a charcuterie board here one of these days during the show, and it'll be from because they do sweet pepper bologna for us too, which is a really good sausage, and then their deer sausage up there is award winning. So I'll bring in a charcuterie board one of these afternoons.
Hey,
sounds good.
We'll have a show and we'll feature. The
last thing I'll say about good setups is I once knew a guy, my uncle, because I asked him. He's much older now, and he said, I was like, tell me when you deer hunted. I've never deer hunted with this particular uncle. I was like, what was it? He was like, well, when the season opened, we would actually go out on the property and we would get a refrigeration truck, or like to where basically, I don't know if it was like a whole truck. I think it was, to where they could literally kill the deer, field dress it, hang it up, put it right there, put it in the freezer, basically.
Like this dude was
keep hunting.
Yeah, this dude was scouring for food this morning, and he's chopped into pieces by noon.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Now here's what
I'm going to say this too. That is some special time in the great outdoors and God's creation, seeing the sun up, and there's nothing better. I mean, there are a few things in this world better than that moment too.
Sunrise,
and just having that personal devotional time. I now have an 11-year-old son who, for the last couple of years, has gone hunting with me. He killed his first deer last year. We shared that experience together. He nailed him from the stand. We stay warm in our stands. I mean, our stands are little mini Holiday Inns. So I'm not freezing my absolute tail off, because we have put a lot of hard work as a family into some box stands that keep us at least a little bit warmer than 15 degrees, and so we do enjoy it together, and it's a fun experience when the deer come in, and it is. But no, seriously, we are going to have. We're going to have a sausage.
Maybe we'll play some left
bring
wing
it. I'll
will.
eat it up.
We'll play some left wing will.
We'll play the
and
game.
The red pill.
Yeah, left wing will and the red pill.
We'll get the chat involved with the game.
Yeah, we'll play that.
So this is, if you're not familiar with the show Cards, or the Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah,
that's
or Apples to Apples.
Apples to Apples, kind of the same. It's all the same premise. And so it's there. I will say this too, for people outside of Arkansas, and I know we'll need to move on to our next points, but people don't realize we've got tons of white-tailed deer here in the state of Arkansas, and people pay thousands of dollars to come in and duck hunt in the state of Arkansas, especially here in northeast Arkansas and the Delta, where we've got a lot of rice fields and
professional athletes.
So I saw Chipper Jones, the third baseman for Atlanta Braves back in the 90s, Chipper Jones at a gas station in my hometown one time, and I'm like, what the hell is
Kevin Costner was here a couple years ago with my buddy. They hunted just right. I mean, 15 minutes from where we're sitting right now.
Yeah, the guiding, the duck
Lainey
guiding
Wilson
business.
Lainey Wilson was here last year. She ate at La Cascada, and then went hunting the next morning, and
Who's Lainey Wilson?
She's
come
like the
on.
I don't.
Her and
I'm
Ella
sorry,
Langley
I don't
are-
listen to music.
Come
she's-
on.
Yes.
Listen to
So
soundtracks.
her and Ella Langley are probably Lainey Wilson more so than Ella Langley, but Ella Langley is like more recent stuff. The two biggest female country artists right now, which is why you don't know them.
Okay.
You uncultured swine.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Lainey Wilson. It sounds like the girl that the nerdy girl that they try to make into prom queen,
Yeah.
and they make a bet.
well,
What's that movie?
so
Carrie.
That's really
wait a minute.
That's really good.
That ended with some animal blood too, didn't it? You know.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
No, I was thinking of the other one with Freddie Prinze Jr. But,
Oh, she's
Buffy
all
the
that.
Vampire.
She's all
Buffy
that.
the Vampire Slayer.
So Lainey Wilson is.
We should do a
she's
segment
female
called Bad Movie Guesses.
yes.
So-
should.
Tee one up, and you'd be like, "No."
She is a famous country music artist, and she won Entertainer of the Year and all that stuff. But anyway, she got famous because of her incredible booty.
Yeah, on Yellowstone.
Yeah, so
And then she lost it.
She lost it because she took the shot, the Ozempic, and all that stuff, and people were like ripping on her for losing her big old booty. But everybody liked it, and I observed it. So,
And then brought it up on the show.
yeah, I can't say that it was notable either way, but I could draw you a picture of it right now, left-handed blindfolded. My wife doesn't watch this show. We're good.
Okay.
My wife hates politics, so we're good.
All right. Here's the last thing I'll say about the Amy Coney Barrett situation, and it's this tweet from the Conservative Treehouse, or the Last Refuge, or Sundance, or he's got 3 different names. He says federal judges purposely collapsed the domestic tranquility that cemented our safe unity as a nation. So just in general, all federal judges have done this over our lifetime. Chief Justice Roberts then scorned us on the issue of impeaching those malicious federal judges. Sorry, Miss Barrett, but welcome to the unsafe world you judicially created. I think that sums up my feelings about this whole thing when it comes to violence and leftist violence and the lawlessness of our country and the lack of clarity, the lack of will to act to actually bring us back to law and order. And now they are going through it because they've allowed the left to make so many cultural gains for so long. And now when the left hears no, they grab their pitchforks and their torches. And so in a way,
Or their 30-06s.
or their 30
Oh, God.
and so in
Yeah,
a way,
that's true.
they're complaining about something that collectively they're responsible for. And I think about the judge that let Irina Zaruska's killer loose 14 times before he finally stabbed her.
Yeah.
You think of all of this in the name of and nobody's done anything to those judges. Those judges should be in jail themselves.
Yeah.
If not given life sentences. I mean, at some point, I think you have to consider the death penalty for some of these judges because of the amount of people that have been murdered because of their lawlessness.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What is your? Well, I
Give
mean,
a judge a death sentence for making a bad ruling?
I think over time, yeah. I mean, I'm just talking about.
Wow.
I'm talking about if you look at their rulings. You don't think that judge that let that guy out 14 times in the name of racial equality, in the name of this is a black guy,
made him sign a promise that he would come back. That's all he had to do.
You don't think that judge is responsible for the death? I mean, they're literally going against our entire system to make us unsafe in the name of some sort of religion, some sort of woke religion.
Paul,
I'm just saying that we should at least consider it. I mean, you're responsible for for death, for somebody getting murdered because
to Paul's point, let me throw this one at you. You're a bartender and you overserve somebody and they go that has happened where the bartender has been charged with manslaughter because that person went and drunk drived and killed someone. So it's not unprecedented where you are if you are an enabler of something that you also get it charged. The death penalty might be a bit harsh.
Yeah, I mean, it might be. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, after an investigation and a jury of your peers, maybe you consider it. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I'm all for yanking judges off the bench. That one in particular that you're talking about, but I mean, we can't start executing them.
No,
after a fair trial, I'm not.
After a fair trial,
I'm talking about after the
and
actually,
not in Manhattan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it needs to be down in Lubbock, Texas, or something like that. Well, I don't know. I don't know the death penalty is up there for it, but I believe that these judges do have some culpability. And when is that ever going to come to fruition here? When we see some accountability with it?
Yeah.
I think because we're all frustrated.
Yeah, but I like that. I like that.
Even like that stinking judge in Wisconsin that let the guy out the back door. I mean, now that she's already off and she's going to have like probation for 6 months.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, exactly. But compare that.
Insane.
Compare it though to I can't remember the Rittenhouse. Compare that to Kyle Rittenhouse and the judge in that case.
Yeah,
that if that judge had not had courage, he could have let the prosecution put that kid in jail and wrongly convict. But he saw the shenanigans and he said, "You are not allowed to do this." And actually, it should have. I don't know if it did, but it should have ruined the prosecutor's career, because it was insane what was going on. But that judge said, no, we're going to have a fair trial. And then, the results were Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted. So there are examples of judges doing good things, but we just got so many that are terrible.
Yeah.
So
well, and somebody would say, well, it's just your perspective. This judge is doing great things, and that's because you agree with the leftist ideology that everybody deserves a 27th chance, to make it right and all of this stuff. And you're just like, at what point does a judge sit and not say, I have to weigh the danger to society at this point?
Yeah.
This is not about you. This is about your actions and how it's going to affect other people around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these are the same crazy dudes that are pushing people in front of trains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so at what point is it going to stop? Are we going to stand up and say that Donald Trump ran on Law and Order both times, but really hard on the first time because we were getting out of hand with this lawlessness, and we just wanted to eliminate laws, and we're seeing that right now with illegal immigration. It's like, at what point do you just sit here and say we can't pick and choose which laws we're going to follow? If I choose to break the law by speeding, I realize that there's a possibility that I might get a ticket, I might get in trouble. I don't sit here and say, well, they just shouldn't enforce this law. They really shouldn't. I don't feel that way, but a leftist does. And that's what's the downgrade.
Yeah.
And that's what has happened with the Democrat Party. They're overtaken by radicals. And it's going to be interesting also. We haven't talked about this. It's going to be interesting to see what Donald Trump announces tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. We're going to reset, take a break. But yeah, big announcement tomorrow from the president, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. Folks, we're going to take a break, though. Don't go anywhere. This is the Paul Harrell Program. Back in just a moment.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust to your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night, and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
Now for the lowest price ever. Kings, $19.98, Queens, only $18.98. And Giza Dream Bed Sheets, the best sheets in history, for as low as $29.98. Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you, what a concept, now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But that's not all. Order right now and we'll ship your order absolutely free.
The other things that we're seeing, more and more use for is even vascular issues. So one of the mechanisms that red light, near-infrared light, or red vive works is stimulation of the mitochondria and stimulation of nitric oxide production. So when nitric oxide is released in cells, it vasodilates cells. It reduces inflammation. It moves blood. It brings blood flow to areas. So folks that have issues with ulcers or burns or wounds, it can help stimulate increased blood supply, and you need blood to heal. So that can open up different avenues for peripheral artery disease, for neuropathic pain syndromes. And so that's one of the other areas for nerve injury or nerve pain that we can leverage this type of medicine.
For centuries, light has been used to heal. Awaken the body with Red Vive.
My name is John, and this is my beautiful wife, Lori, and this is our Star Wars Ewok. His name is Scout, and we have Scout for about 11 years now, and we started noticing about 3 years ago he started slowing down. He was unable to jump on the bed. He was kind of a little bit grumpier, and when my daughters, Macy and Mariah, would take him on walks, he would walk for about 30 yards, and then he'd lay down, and they'd carry him the rest of the way. So I heard about Pet Club 24/7 and about the products from a gentleman that I really trust and share a friendship with. And he mentioned to me that they have products that are going to help him with his arthritis, help him build his immune system. And I said, okay, no problem. Let's try them out. And I kid you guys not, within about 2 to 3 days, we started noticing a little difference. And then we took Scout on a walk probably about a week after we started using the products, the mush puppies, and he would walk the entire way. He would walk at least a mile, and it's just been completely amazing. He's a new dog. He's 11 years old, which is around 80 years in dog years, and he's just happy. He's more energetic. He's not the grumpy old man he used to be, and we're just so thankful. And it was perfect timing because we lost our boxer Yankee about 1.5 years ago, and it was really hard on us. So I'm so thankful for Pet Club 24/7 for the products that they offer. Imagine if you could have your best friend around one more day or one more week or even one more year. I'm so blessed and thankful that we were able to find this company and find these products for Scout. So thank you guys. Give it a shot. We appreciate you. God bless everyone.
The Paul Harrell Program.
All right, so President Trump's going to be speaking tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. Welcome back to the show, broadcasting on LFA TV here from Arkansas, as well as the Paul Harrell Program YouTube channel. We would appreciate you guys going over there and giving us a follow. Like, share, subscribe to all things, as well as on LFA TV and Rumble. President Trump's going to be making a big announcement tomorrow. Kind of been waiting on this. We've been speculating on this. It's going to be about election fraud. According to reports, it's going to be about the 2020 stolen election. Now, the question is...
He teed that up yesterday when he was sitting down with the president of Iraq.
I've got that audio. I think that's what this is, actually.
Well, and
he said he'll talk. They'll touch on other things as well. But he said as he does very well. He just said you won't believe it.
What was the? I saw Benny Johnson post about it today that the president cleared his schedule and called everybody into the war room. Have you seen any updates about that?
I have not. I have not. Admittedly, I've been distracted today, but
yeah, I didn't know if that was if these two things were related because it was the day before. Or if this was an Iranian thing, I have no idea. So maybe folks in our comments, if you've heard anything about why
yesterday.
No, so it was today.
Today.
So from what I remember there, that he cleared his schedule. If you've heard anything about that or seen, if you've seen that on your stuff, we'd love to hear about it. But yeah, tomorrow. I mean, is he going to say? So it's Warnock, Ralph Warnock, and who's the other one? I can't remember.
John Ossoff.
Ossoff. Yeah, both of them won those, and that was huge, right?
Yeah.
Because that
Paul Sperry, President Trump to announce in primetime speech Thursday night, FBI, CIA, ODNI have uncovered shocking intelligence of foreign election interference, not Russian, in recent U.S. elections, including 2020, plus cover-up. Directors Radcliffe and Patel to certify evidence. It's a developing story. Now, the question is, is this going to be China, or, is this going to verify Emerald Robinson's reporting? I don't know. I know John Solomon is reportedly kind of involved in this, and to me, he seems a little bit like a gatekeeper sometimes. But what I'm going into it with this understanding. I don't think President Trump is going to be like, hey, our own government rigged the 2020 election. But just because he doesn't say that doesn't mean, we saw, as we've on this program before, EcoHealth Alliance funded the Wuhan lab, funded the gain-of-function research. China gets the blame for it, but you can make the point that America, and we now know this thanks to the declassifications of Tulsi Gabbard, that America was responsible for COVID, or at least parts of our own government were responsible for COVID.
Certainly the funding of it.
Yeah, so it's in a non-monolithic system. It is entirely possible that the Intel oligarchy, which is not just American, but it got its eyes in all the five. Just think Five Eyes, the whole Five Eyes countries: the United States, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Great Britain. The point is, he says you're not going to believe it. I don't expect Donald Trump to say. I don't expect the existing CIA to say we did it. But I think they did. This is my point. I think they had a role. I think elements of it had a role. But we'll have to wait and see, because I do think it's going to absolutely shock the left. It's going to drive them nuts. They're going to think it's a big nothing burger. I would also expect, while it's going on national television, the mainstream outlets to cut in or have some sort of lower third that says, Trump cites unbased or unfounded claims of election interference. They're not just going to let him talk without editorial.
They'll make it into a nothing burger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be
frustrating.
It'd be incredible if he had just done this in terms of like a presidential address from the Oval Office with a huge announcement and didn't give any preface of it. And then during that address flashed, I guess, is there one feed that goes out to everybody in that instance when it's a presidential address from the Oval Office?
I believe so.
Because they're not going to have a gaggle in there in the Oval.
One camera to look at one, you're looking at one
So
camera.
that means you would control the feed and you would put up there and you would just say, all of this has been verified. Here are the resources for you to check.
Yeah.
And man, it would have to go on CNN. It would have to go on ABC, because if they're going to carry that live, if it's a presidential from the Oval Office, and if they could have kept it, and of course this is me living in a fantasy world, but it's just that's
fireside chat.
I naively think that if somehow the left got the real story, that they would see the light.
I do
right?
this too.
And I'm so naive about that, and I know that's not the truth,
There's
man.
no persuading
We
these
saw
people.
this with the abortion stuff, where it's just like I kept presenting all of this stuff, and people were chiming in, and showed that I posted the video inside there of the 32-week. And the baby smiling in the womb on the ultrasound because she heard the dad's voice, and you're like, you're saying that's not a baby. Like, you present that evidence to them, and they won't do it. The same thing that we've talked about again countless times on this show, the street interviews where they're like, what do you think about Trump's quote? And then, of course, they read an Obama quote or a Biden quote or something like that, and they're like, oh, that's totally racist, right? And you're like, oh, well, that was actually Barack Obama, our first black president. I'll put that in quotes because who knows. But anyway, like they won't, and they're like, well, this interview's over. That's it, And so it's naive of me to think that if Trump was somehow able to get this information to them, that they would believe it, because like, this has not been verified. This is, whatever. You're going to live in this dream world. They believe that E. Jean Carroll was raped by Trump. They believe it. They believe it because of the settlement that was released to them. I'm just, oh my God, I can't today.
Here's what President Trump said. Let's take a listen.
Are anticipating your big announcement on Thursday night regarding election machines and integrity. Can you give us sort of a sneak peek about what to expect and tell
Well, I'd rather save it. It will concern that subject, and we'll have a couple of other things to say also. But I'd rather save it, but it's really big news. It's really, really big news. And our country has to shape up. But that's what we're going to be talking about Thursday is it doesn't get bigger, because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country. We'll be discussing other things too, but it's going to be a very big announcement. Yeah.
So
around the nation.
Tulsi Gabbard.
So did he give away the lead there? I mean, I don't know.
You know, Tulsi Gabbard months ago goes to Georgia.
Yeah.
FBI raids the Georgia
with the baseball cap on.
Yep, and she's back there. She's photographed. She's there. They seize the equipment, which, to your point, is what y'all brought up earlier. Is why they're saying that the people who are serving the state of Georgia right now are there illegitimately. And it would also, it's also going to mean Joe Biden was illegitimately elected as well.
Oh, you can't.
I grew up in Missouri, in the Show Me state. So
yeah,
show me the evidence, and I'll look at it.
Yep.
And I'll objectively, make my own ruling. Justice Coney Barrett. I'll make the ruling.
Yeah, I don't think that there's on any planet of rational thinking you believe that Joe Biden won 2020. So therefore, all of the fallout, including the runoff that happened in December in the Georgia Senate elections of 2020, Georgia was a hot mess.
Yeah,
in 2020.
Time.
It was Arizona in 2016, and then as Arizona propped up its head again in 2020, and then in 2022, and then in 2024, Arizona needs to get their crap together. For the love of God, they need to take the playbook for Florida after the 2000 hanging Chad, where Florida has some of the most efficient elections.
Arizona,
Chad.
Arizona's got that. They got that Mexican cartel money. And that's the problem.
Maricopa
with Arizona.
County is
they got that Mexican. They got the tunnels. Yeah. Kerry Lake was like, I'm going to find the tunnels and I'm going to blow them up.
Well, think about
you mean her? You mean the lady that said that's election wasn't fair?
Think about this. Think about this. Maricopa County in Arizona and Fulton County in Georgia, 2 counties of our 50 states, and we have 75 counties here in the state of Arkansas, if I remember correctly.
That is correct.
But a lot of other states have many other counties, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're talking about 2 out of however many counties are in the United States that have such a huge stranglehold on our elections, and in pointed way. They have a stranglehold on fair elections because Fulton County is just wrought with fraud. We constantly see this. We saw this with the size of the ballots, and the judge there that was reviewing this just said, you don't have standing, and they're like, they send it on down the line. But the Democrat ballot, so you guys remember this, where the ballots were, we keep talking about we need to do a whole show about the election fraud that happened in 2020. We definitely need to do it. But the ballots were, and I can't remember the exact sizes, but forgive me for this, but suffice it to say it was something like 12 inches is what, a 12-inch ballot is what would go through the machine properly. Mm. All the Democrat ballots were printed on 12-inch ballots. A 13-inch ballot would go through sometimes, but a lot of times it would kick back. It would have problems. All the Republican ballots were printed on 13-inch ballots. This happened 100% in the county of Maricopa in Arizona, okay, in 2020. Carrie Lake was screaming it from the mountaintops. Nobody would listen to her because they just said she was a kook. Carrie Lake is, for mine, she needs to be in charge of elections in our United States, in my opinion. But anyway, so you print them all the Democrat ballots on proper ones. You print the Republican ones on one that will sometimes go through, right? You can get it to go through, but it's an inch off and it's causing problems on the machine. Why would you do that if you're not trying to cheat? Okay. Oh, it was just an error, whatever. This was literally testified in court. And this is from the same people that said these voting machines are not online. Well, how the hell do the votes get there if they're not online? We don't have some big database computer sitting over there to the side. I vote at the fairgrounds. All it is some machines. Where is it going? Where's my vote going? You're like, oh, well, it's just being printed out on this, and it's getting scanned in, and then that is going in. Bull. You're telling me that somebody can't hack that? I know for a fact that someone hacked it because they were sitting there on the witness stand in Arizona, and they hacked into a live voting machine that wasn't supposed to be on the internet in the first place. So we know this stuff happens. But why does Maricopa County, who has had problems for so long, continue to have problems? Fulton County have had problems and continue to have problems. And these two are now, who would have thought of Georgia as a swing state? It didn't become a swing state until Fulton County started cheating.
Yeah.
Bottom line here, folks. Long rant to say we've got to secure these elections, this Save America Act. The Republicans are trying again in the House. God bless them. The Republicans are doing everything they can do in the House. John Thune can go to hell for all I care. That dude is completely crapping on the American voter in terms of you were put in charge of the Senate and the House and the presidency. And the president's doing his job. The House is doing their job. Mike Johnson, man, that guy's doing yeoman's work. If you're a baseball person, he's doing yeoman's work there in the House with a razor-thin majority. And John Thune can't even get the crap on the floor. Kiss my rear, dude.
I do think the announcement tomorrow night kind of goes in line with what some of the stuff that we've talked about, or at least my prediction. Remember my prediction? Can you recount it? Because I can't even remember, but it had something to do with
the multi-layer
steps that are going to end up taking place. And Tulsi Gabbard's election report was one of them. And now you've got Bill Pulte, who is making good on her work there. And there was like a 7-step process that I think it was eventually going to lead to an executive order after you get the evidence. So the Senate says we're not going to do anything. The evidence comes out. We have real problems. The Senate still won't act, my prediction. The Senate will still not act because they're owned by the very intelligence agencies that benefit from rigging elections. Donald Trump will pass an executive order. It'll be challenged in court. They will then take the evidence to the Supreme Court and say this is why the executive order must be upheld. You've got to let us monitor elections federally. You've got to let us do all of the things that an executive order like that would try to fix. I don't know, but that we really could be seeing the plan come and just the way I said. And it's July 15th. I mean, there's
at a certain point, it's. I mean, I feel like we're past the point of no return on getting this implemented. Let's just say that it were to be passed. I think we're past the point of return here in terms of getting it implemented before the midterms. But my God, at least we would have hope for the future, because after the midterms, you got the lame duck session, because I think the Republicans are going to lose control of one or both chambers.
Well, I'm hoping that I guess what I'm hoping for is that this actually does come out, that the intelligence he releases tomorrow does call into question the security.
Who's going to listen to him, though?
No. What I'm saying is like there's a lot of people out there that are still like, yeah, there was cheating. It was all ballots.
Yeah.
Then there's people out there like, yeah, that happened, but also we shouldn't allow voting machines to pick our leaders because they're too easily hacked. I really hope the intel throws the voting machines under the bus. We may not get the full story that I think is true, but we may get the story of, hey, in the world of AI, it is literally crazy to rely on electronic voting machines to pick our leaders. It's crazy. It's the definition of insanity with everything that's going on now. So I hope you get that, because the SAVE Act does not address electronic voting machines. At least I don't believe it does. I think it's voter ID, some ideas out there about same-day voting or limiting the early vote, or no mail-in ballots unless, you're literally in a nursing home or a soldier overseas. It does things like that. But you can present all the voter ID you want, and if you're voting on an electronic machine, it's not going to matter. They can still change it. So I hope that we potentially get a better outcome with an executive order. Again, if the SCOTUS upholds it, which with Amy Coney Barrett, she's afraid, so probably we would lose, but who knows?
Yeah, I think that's tough. Kevin Lunn here in our comments, brought up a great point too. If you think that the elections were safe, watch the movie 2,000 Mules with Dinesh.
Yeah.
Let's just say that 50% of that's true. Heck, if even 20% of it's true, there needs to be a massive overhaul of our elections here in the United States, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Eric?
No, I agree. Remind me, Dinesh D'Souza, this was his about border.
No, so
about the ballot harvesters.
This was
That's
the
right.
people showing up at 2 a.m. with the boxes of ballots.
Yes.
And they actually had video
That's
showing
right.
these people.
Yeah.
So there was like 2,000. They called them mules because they're going around and stuffing ballot boxes after hours when people
And they
weren't
had
there.
the geolocation data of
Correct.
their phone.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So-
Really eye-opening stuff. And stuff that would make you sick to your stomach and say, well, why the hell am I voting?
Right.
Why am I going to cast my vote if it's going to be just completely stolen by a person that is either dead or doesn't exist or is an illegal who's not supposed to be voting in the first place?
It's pretty much that way anyway. If you're not in one of the swing states, now wouldn't you guys agree?
Well,
I love voting. I'm not. This is not an affront on voting in Arkansas, but I'm just saying, unless you're in a swing state,
Well, Eric,
mattering.
if they were to get a close election on anything between a Democrat and Republican here in the state of Arkansas, if they were to get a close election, cheating efforts are then going to be placed on that, and all of a sudden,
retro act. Okay.
a reliably red state becomes a swing state because Republicans sat home for one election.
Yep.
And all of a sudden now it's close. Like, ooh, now it would be believable for us to go in there and do that. For us to go in there, and now we've gotten rid of the Tom Cottons and the Rick Crawfords of the world because we are going to commit this fraud. Somebody would say, well, that's just not real. That's just not reasonable. That's not going to happen. And I'm like, well, I don't put anything past Democrats at this point.
Hey, speaking of Tom Cotton, apparently the House of Representatives passed a bill to abolish or to keep daylight savings time permanent or abolish daylight savings time.
Yeah,
anyway,
you don't want to do it.
This is how I can describe it. Imagine that we spring forward.
But we don't.
And we never fall back. That's what this is. We spring forward, but we never fall back. Okay, so a bill like that passed out of the House, and they say that Tom Cotton is going to block it. He's not going to allow it because he disagrees with it.
He won't even let it come out of committee so that it can receive a vote on the floor is what I'm saying, what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. So he doesn't even want to hear it. Now, Mike,
I saw our local meteorologist weighing in on that this morning.
Yeah,
too.
what was his take? I'm curious.
I forgot exactly what it is. Give me a minute on that, and I'll
well,
I'll get you a synopsis.
here's the deal. I don't really care about the inconvenience that it could cause. Here in Arkansas, it would mean that a lot of kids are going to school in the dark.
But they kind of there's a limited time there in December before we're out for Christmas break where they're already going in the dark.
In the dark,
Yeah,
and so I'm kind of like, well, I get that. That's an inconvenience, but I'm just tired of switching. I hate it. I hate the switch. I think it's ridiculous. I don't even care if you wanted to stay on the other one. I just pick a time, and I hate it I don't like it.
I'll go you one better than that. So they talk about the kids going to school in the dark. Let me just ask you, folks, whether you have kids or your kids are grown, if you'll hearken back to your memory to when they were school age, are your kids not virtual zombies in the car ride to school in the first place in the morning? Like, I mean, they're like uppity and peppy and all of that stuff. I mean, they're doing the thing. We gotten them up. We've brushed their teeth. They're doing the thing, right? They're moving. We're hey, get in the car. It's a big fight in the morning to get everybody in the vehicle in time to get outside of the door. But anyway, so the kids, I don't think they need brightness. But at 4:45 p.m. in the wintertime,
They don't need dark.
They don't need dark. And that's what we have now.
That's a good point.
Here in the state of Arkansas, of course, we're on Central Time, so it may be different in other places. But
Yeah.
but when you look out your window, say if you had an office job and you work till 5 o'clock and it's already getting dark outside at 5 o'clock,
You got that seasonal depression syndrome
correct?
that sets in.
Yeah,
seasonal
and
affective disorder.
And I'm in real estate, and I think about all of the female agents who work for me, who now have increased. Because people look at houses, if they want to buy a house, they look at it after hours. And so if the person normally works this 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job, we're showing houses at 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and it's been dark for multiple hours. It's really unsafe.
Yeah, there was wasn't there a real estate agent that was murdered
here in the state of Arkansas? Beverly Carter. This was 2015. Somewhere around in there, yeah. She was asked to meet at a vacant house, and a boyfriend, girlfriend here, they were going to rob her because she had posted that she closed $5 million worth of sales, not realizing that her commission is a small percentage of that, and $5 million it's a lot of money. Like it's, she did really well, but they said she had like $45 in her checking account at that point. It doesn't mean that she had, because she sold $5 million worth of transactions, doesn't mean she had $5 million. Everybody would be doing real estate at that point if that was the case. So she just, but she was lured out there, and they were trying to rob her, and they just killed her because, I guess they got some money from her. I can't remember the exact details of it, but it in one respect, the silver lining, the positive, is that it changed real estate here in the state of Arkansas, where now we start meeting people at the office. Or if we can't meet them at the office, if that's not feasible, then we're taking somebody with us, so that there's some protection, because she was a 50-something-year-old woman who met a couple, and she was killed. Now that's just real estate, but there's a lot of business that happens after 5 p.m. Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about restaurant people and all of this stuff. And if we have just increased levels of darkness, I'm all for more sunshine. So
I think I am too. I just think I'd be for the change. I just am tired of it, back and forth. And to your point, what'd you call it, Eric? The seasonal
affective disorder.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
It is a big thing.
I think one of the cures is, to take vitamin D, especially during the month of February. Take vitamin D supplements. It can really help. But you got these kids that are not getting the sunlight. They get out of school and now it's dark, and it's depressing.
It starts in January because you get past Christmas, and you got all the holiday stuff that's depressing for some, of course, but for the most part, it's a joyous time.
Well, you've also eaten. This is another. You've also eaten very poorly. If you really look at it, the opportunity to not eat well starts on Halloween. Okay, around Halloween, it's like, hey, just have a little piece of candy. Yeah, you're not a kid. You're not trick or treating.
Yeah,
but
come on, guy.
Have a piece of candy.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Sound like Cartman.
and then you get to Thanksgiving. And you get, you get workday Thanksgiving parties, or you get Friendsgiving.
Potlucks reading.
Then you get to the big Thanksgiving, and now it's Christmas time, and now you have Christmas parties that don't take place.
Well, first of all, you forgot Thanksgiving leftovers, where you're eating it for days and days and days.
Yeah, so by the time January rolls around, this is when the diets kick in, but this is when people also just get sick.
Yeah.
Because they've actually eaten
You're fat as a house.
A ton of food that they wouldn't have otherwise eaten. And I'm preaching to myself here, because I realized that one day. I was like, wow, since Halloween, I have there's always an excuse to eat something you're not supposed to eat.
Well, your caloric intake increases, and your output right there, your physical activity, it's decreased because the weather is not you're not going outside as much, and all of that stuff, and you're probably not spending as much time in the gym. I don't know, but it starts in January for sure, because you've gotten through all of that. And then January, it's like, what do I have to look forward to?
Yeah. Did you get that quote from the local weatherman?
Maybe, but
no, he just lays out the fact that it passed in the House, and that there is literally nothing on the calendar as far as a Senate vote that it goes to the Senate, but that there's no intention of voting on it.
Has it
and he
passed
didn't
the
call
House
out
before?
Tom Cotton specifically. I know you did, but it'll be interesting to see if he ends up doing that.
Has it passed before?
I do not know.
I saw something about 1974.
Okay. Well, that was Tom Cotton ripping on it because he said that they tried it in 1974 and it was just a disaster. And they keep talking about kids going to school in the dark, and I'm like, Tom, you live in Arkansas. You know that December 4th.
Does he though? Does he live in Arkansas?
No, there you go.
Way to go, Rob. You opened up that can.
Maybe this is more about how daylight saving time affects the East Coast in Washington, D.C. Otherwise known as Mordor on the Potomac.
There you go. Because on the East Coast, I mean, I guess they are. Well, help me figure this out. Like my brain can't figure it out.
I guess the last time, too, it passed the Senate, but didn't pass the House. The House didn't take it up for something.
Oh, okay.
So on the East Coast, so when it's 7 o'clock in the morning, when my wife is trying to get the kids in the vehicle and get them out so it's 8 o'clock there.
Yeah, and the sun is you're going to have an earlier sunrise because it rises in the east, so they're going to see it first.
Sure.
And then we see it last.
Yeah. So if we're the ones that are really the ones that are affected by it, right? Because California is just on a different time frame anyway, right?
Yeah.
The West Coast. Shouldn't we be the ones to decide? Shouldn't it be our decision? Because the East Coast, like, yeah, okay, well, it's an hour earlier over there, right? Spring forward, yeah. So it's an hour earlier over there, but the sun hits you first.
Yeah.
So you're fine.
Yeah.
Just shut up.
I don't know. I mean, and then you get like states. I mean, I guess the state could set its own. You could do a patchwork of, because Arizona is weird. Arizona, I once scheduled an interview back when I was on radio with Larry Schweikart, the historian. He wrote this book called The Patriots' History of the United States. It's really thick and really thorough. Mm-hmm. And he says, and we had scheduled a time, and we got everything mixed up. And I thought I was on Pacific time or whatever Arizona was, but Arizona has
they don't do the daylight savings time.
Yeah, they don't do it. So we missed the interview because I didn't know that.
So there's times where Arizona is 1 hour behind us, and there are times where they're 2 hours behind us. I think
that's weird, dude. That's weird. I just want to get it straight. I'm tired of switching. I don't even care which one. I just want to pick a time and stick with that time. I'm done with the spring forward. I'm done with the fall backwards. I mean, the extra hour of sleep in the fall, I suppose, is good, but then you pay for it later in the spring.
Well, no one wants to spring forward. Everybody's okay, I guess, with the fall back.
Yeah.
You're okay with it. You're like, oh, I'll sleep an extra hour, and it always falls on Sunday. And we go to the 8 o'clock service on Sunday. And so when you spring forward, that's brutal. I mean, my wife and I are fine. We can get up, but getting the kids up and, trying to get them in bed on Saturday night when they've watched movies and Saturday night, all this stuff. Anyway. So spring forward is tough. But if that was the norm, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Because that's when it's still light out in the middle of the summer at 9 o'clock.
Perfect. I know, it's amazing.
And I'm like, nobody's going to bed at 9 o'clock in the summertime.
Yeah, no, and case in point, I mean, our fireworks show did not start till 9 o'clock. That's basically when the sun was finally gone, and you could actually, you weren't wasting the light.
Well, and it just pushes off the mosquitoes longer, because they come out when the sun goes down.
And they'll get you.
We got mosquitoes here in the state of Arkansas.
Carry you away.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Rob, I know you got to run.
I do. I got to go. I got to pick up my dog.
All right, brother. Well, we'll see you soon. Thanks for
Are you kicking me out?
No, you can stay. You know what?
I felt like I could stay. And so
if you reconsider, I know you got to go, brother. But maybe if you
the click sound,
decide to love deer hunting, or
listen,
maybe you could stay.
Just say it. Just say it. I've been voted off the island. I'm not allowed to be here.
Rob, bring your torch.
Everybody put my name in the the thing.
Please come forward with your torch.
I haven't watched that show in forever, Survivor, but I
don't even know if they still do the torch.
I think they would be the parchment. It would be Rob, get out of here.
No,
so
it's all good.
All right.
You need to go hunting again. You need to try it again.
You know what? If I'm
I was
invited,
gonna say I'm taking you to the farm next year.
Listen, the only
Sounds
gun
like you'd
that
love it. I mean, I rough it. I'm into tree stand, and I'm in Gore-Tex. I was like, that's why they make Gore-Tex. I can do it. I'm in the elements. But he's kind of got a Holiday Inn situation going. Sounds like you need to go with him.
We make Pop-Tarts, man.
So, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I was promised some sausage.
No, I'm just saying in the
Wait a
deer
minute,
stand.
that's weird.
I'm going to cut that up.
Wait a minute, that's weird.
That is making the edit.
That's
in the deer stand, we warm up breakfast burritos and Pop-Tarts. In the deer stand on the Mr. Buddy heater.
Where's the sausage, Eric?
The
Let's see
charcuterie
it.
board will be here soon.
Pull it out. I want to. Let's see
There
it.
he goes again. Asking me to pull out my sausage.
What? What did I say?
Come on.
What did I say, guys? No. You talked about
PG.
like you're sitting here talking about in this duck blind being grilling out sausage and eggs and all that
he's
stuff.
Never done that either. Oh,
Yeah.
that's the way.
I've never been duck hunting, so yeah. Well, I'll just say this, folks. I don't have any sort of moral whatever against hunting. I just have
Not a tree hugger.
Not a tree hugger. Mm-hmm. No, I got a big heart. I'm a bleeding heart in some respects. I'm also angry in some respects. I got multiple things. Well, people were talking. People were talking about it in the comments whenever I was defending Amy Coney Barrett. They're like, "Oh, well, Rob, you got a big heart and all that stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, I heard a mom talking, all that kind of stuff." But and I also have anger issues. These things go hand in hand sometimes. I'll say this, but I only have 2 firearms, right? So I have a 9mm handgun. And I have a Beretta A300 home defense shotgun that has a short barrel. It's got the sight, and it's got a lamp on it and all that stuff. If anybody comes into my house at night, you're dead. You're gone. You're not going to live. I don't think I can go duck hunting with that because it's accurate for about 50 yards.
Yeah, no.
And that's about it.
You can borrow I've got a couple.
I was gonna say I got about 20 or 30 shotguns you can borrow.
I know. I've seen your house. You're a weapons locker. Mm-hmm. So, all right,
brother.
See you guys.
See you later, Eric. I'd love to get your Well, let's just take another break first, and we'll kind of reset here. I know Eric's got about another 15 minutes, and then he's got to go. But yeah, let's take a break. We'll be back here in just a second. Make sure that you use the promo code PH when you shop at mypillow.com. Back in a moment.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust to your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
Now for the lowest price ever. Kings, $19.98. Queens, only $18.98. And Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, for as low as $29.98. Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept! Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But that's not all. Order right now and we'll ship your order absolutely free.
I had 5 units that I purchased for the practice right out of the chute. Well, those went the first week that I got back to Houston. So then we ordered another 5 and then another 5. And I think over the next, 6 to 8 weeks, we had ordered like 35 units. And they're gone. They're still gone out of the practice. So we're excited about moving more of these units for our patients because they need them. And so when you bring in new technology and your staff's thinking, oh, this is another thing that I need to handle during the day, I think it's a good idea to give them a little incentive. And I do it as a team. So if one person does well, the whole team does well. So they all support each other. And they got really excited about that. They love it. They'll bring a unit in, turn it on, put it on the patient's foot or leg, and they'll tell the patients, be sure to talk to Dr. Parker about red light therapy. And the patient will say, red light therapy, yeah, I've heard of that, And so I'll walk in and my nurse is she'll tell me, I've spoken to Mrs. Jones about this red light therapy, and she's really excited about it. So Red Vive has been fantastic for our bottom line.
This is our family dog, Bubba. He is a Shorty Jack Russell, and he brings a lot of love and laughter into our home. We just want to thank Pet Club for making healthy food and treats for our animals. Bubba has been on Pet Club food for a little over a year now. He really likes the Sequoia dry food, and then I put a scoop of the Sequoia wet dog food in there with some hot water and stir it up, and he absolutely loves it. And he likes the mush puppies, but his ultimate favorite is the antlers. Those keep him busy for a really long time, and he really likes them. It makes us feel really good that the food and treats that we give him have healthy ingredients in them, because we want him to be around for a really long time. Our previous dog was a lab, and his name was Titus, and we fed him in bulk, and we would just get his food from the big box grocery stores. And unfortunately, that food wasn't very healthy for him, and he ended up getting cancer and passing away. So we didn't want to make that mistake with Bubba, so we were really fortunate to find Pet Club and find some really healthy food for him to eat. So we would just like to thank Pet Club, and we just really appreciate the healthy food that they make, so we can keep this guy around as long as we can.
For centuries, light has been used to heal. Awaken the body with Red Vive.
The Paul Harrell Program.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for being with us, broadcasting from the state of Arkansas. I've still got Eric Haynes in seat number 3. Eric, I know you're here for another 10 minutes or so. We really appreciate your time.
It's been a great conversation today, buddy.
It's been a fun one, too. I really enjoyed it. I have this clip here from, let me see if I can't find it. Just the News. House Homeland Security Chair Garbarino. Let me just throw this up on the screen here and go ahead and fix this. There we go. So, it says here that ICE agents shot a man in Texas on July 7th while the agents were trying to conduct a vehicle stop as part of a targeted enforcement operation to arrest an illegal immigrant, and that the victim, Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, attempted to evade them. House Homeland Security Chairman Andrew Garbarino, Republican New York, vowed Wednesday that his committee will conduct oversight of Immigration and Customs Enforcement after its officers fatally shot 2 individuals in the span of 1 week. Again, the first one was July 7th, and the second shooting occurred Monday, July 13th in Maine. Garbarino told The Hill that his panel has already reached out to ICE and requested a briefing with the agency next week, but the briefing will not include information on the shootings. So they're saying that they want details, and everybody's just pearl clutching, and it's like, guys, did you not think this was going to happen? Is this not part of immigration enforcement? We've been overrun by illegals. Yes, there's going to be times when, we've already seen it in Minnesota, there's going to be times when they run, there's going to be times when they get violent, and yes, you're literally going after criminals, and it's not a surprise when those criminals end up dead because they don't want to go home or they fight with law enforcement. This is just part of life. That is what it is. And yet, we have these reports that Mark Wayne Mullen then went around, after the news of this and all the pearl clutching, apparently Mark Wayne Mullen then decided to appease everyone and suspend ICE traffic stops. Okay? Now, according to Nick Sorter, he says Mark Wayne Mullen went around President Trump's back to suspend traffic stops, infuriating the president, per multiple reports. Says this was a total betrayal by Mullen, and there must be consequences. Thank God 47 overruled Mullen. Now, again, Just the News adds a little bit more context to that. Kevin Kilo is writing that Trump reverses ICE policy, halting most traffic stops. President Trump on Wednesday praised the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and disputed reports it would end traffic stops. He said the traffic stops are key to effective enforcement. Quote, "We must be strong, tough, and smart. We cannot give up one of ICE's most important and effective crime-fighting tools, the traffic stop. Once we do, we are playing right into the hands of the criminals. The radical left Democrats would like to see this done, but it won't happen on my watch. Several outlets on Tuesday reported ICE would curtail agents stopping vehicles as part of the federal agency's nationwide deportation operation. The change in policy followed 2 fatal shootings of motorists involving ICE agents in 1 week. On Monday, an ICE agent fatal. Okay, so we've covered all that. So this kind of goes back to the top of the show. We don't have the will. We don't have the will. And you say, well, isn't it extreme that people are getting killed in the process of trying to deport them? Yeah. But you know what was more extreme? 30, 40 million illegal aliens over our lifetime that have been allowed to come into this country. Mm-hmm. That's way more extreme than now trying to enforce it. And in order to make an omelet, you got to break a couple of eggs. I mean, it just is what it is. I hate to be callous about it, but when the law enforcement is going to go after somebody, inevitably there's going to be fatalities. It's just the way of the world.
Well said.
So
yeah, these people don't want to go. And
thank you.
The people protecting them don't have the common sense or the wherewithal or the decency to allow these ICE agents to do their job. So a lot of people are going to get in the way intentionally, and a lot of bad guys and illegals that are here are going to fight to stay.
Yeah.
And fight to get away from the guys that are coming after them with handcuffs.
Yeah.
This is law enforcement. This is exactly what is going to happen.
No, I mean, I agree with you, and I think that I think people have had enough, and but I don't think our leaders. I think our leaders think something happens. We're always behind. You know, we're never what the military people. I think, well, it's been explained to me before. We're never right of bang. We're always left of bang. We're always waiting for the event to happen and then react instead of being prepared for it. Or maybe we're always right of bang. Yeah, and we should be left of bang. Anyway, the point is you got to be prepared, but we are just a bunch of, political pearl clutchers.
Oh, right.
That are just like, oh no, we've got to stop because 2 guys got killed. You got to stop immigration stops on the highway. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's ridiculous. But it just goes to show you that these people don't really have the stomach to do what has to be done. And in the meantime, you put that in the context of the birthright citizenship decision, which says Constitution's a national suicide pact. It's actually not a government. We're not a government at all, really. We're not a government for a particular people in a particular place at all. Anybody can just come here, and then your birthright and my birthright now belongs to them. It's now their birthright. It's a global birthright.
Yeah.
It's so offensive to me. And then it's like, okay, well, we got to get the illegals out of here. They don't belong here. No, you can't do that either because 2 people got shot and killed by ICE. It just kind of shows you the mentality by these people's all wrong. And I mean,
yeah.
Mark Wayne Mullen, I don't know much about him, other than I feel like he's got a lot of testosterone and almost got in a fight in a Bernie Sanders committee. And he obviously doesn't like Rand Paul. Rand Paul doesn't like him. I mean, I get that,
but he likes the president, and the president likes him, and these guys can talk. I'm gonna put a lot of just faith in the fact that the right people are in the room.
Yeah, I hope so.
That being Tom Homan and Mark Wayne Mullen and Donald Trump and whoever on that commit, and that they'll talk.
A question's got to be asked though. Why did you think that was? I mean, if it really was Mark Wayne Mullen, it could have been somebody else underneath him. But if it really was Mark Wayne Mullen of Homeland Security, why did you make that decision? Why did you think that was the appropriate response?
We should have him on the show, and we should.
Oh yeah. Let me get Mark Wayne Mullen on the show real quick. I'm sure that'll be real easy.
Hey Siri, can you get me Mark Wayne Mullen's phone number real quick?
The Right Angle News Network is reporting that a 77-year-old woman received a very odd license plate from the state of Florida, and she's now speaking out after the state of Florida sent her a randomized license plate number that appears to read "squeeze ass."
No way that was random.
I don't know, man. This is pretty funny. Apparently,
somebody at the jail that was putting this one together was like, "Hey guys, Check this one out.
It's like that Seinfeld episode where he gets the ass man license plate.
He goes, proctologist. Have you ever spent time with a proctologist?
They got the best stories. 1,000,000-to-1 shot, Doc. 1,000,000-to-1. Yeah.
The next time you're at a party and there's a proctologist.
I once knew a guy that allegedly the story was he got up in the middle of the night, lights off, had to go to the bathroom, and was sitting down. And the plunger was right next to the toilet. You know, that's a normal place for plungers to go, you know. And he ended up in the hospital.
You're sick.
You know how forceful you'd have to. You know, you sit down on the toilet. You know, you think there's something there. You know, so that's like your whole body weight. That's a large percentage of your body weight is just on a wooden plunger handle.
Ouch.
And if you know, in the guy, but that's literally 1,000,000-to-1 shot, Doc. 1,000,000-to-1.
Sorry, Doc. I got these rectal splinters now.
Oh, gosh. So apparently this was her response to this. And I'm assuming this is an accurate story, Right Angle News Network on X. I mean, everybody wants clicks. I get it. But this was hilarious to me.
I don't think a woman that lives in a senior community that's going to be 77 years old next month will be driving around with what this plate has to say. I don't think...
Okay, honey.
What's crazy is, I mean... You could sell that thing on eBay.
Would that be awesome?
For a bidding war. I mean, you get in a bidding war on that real quick.
Absolutely.
Real quick on that one. So, just thought it was hilarious.
I know a lot of bars and restaurants that would pay a lot of money to have that up in their as flair on their wall.
Yep. So, News Nation sat down with the widow of Corey Comparatori, the person that was murdered at the Butler assassination attempt. And she says that she doesn't think Thomas Crooks acted alone. Listen to this.
None of this was fake. I'm tired of hearing that. It was not fake that day.
Real quick, Eric, you got to go. So
God bless you,
I'll
Paul.
finish the show without you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Great conversation, everyone.
Yes, sir. All right, here it is, folks.
None of this was fake. I'm tired of hearing that. It was not fake that day. President Trump got shot. Unfortunately, he got killed. And I don't want anybody to forget that. And I was looking right in his eyes when it happened. So I don't want people to forget that. And that we struggle every day. Still. Because we don't have answers.
Looking back on that day in Butler, what do you think the Secret Service got most wrong?
Everything. They didn't pick up the radios. They had no communication. They had no communication with the outside. None.
I read in that report that there were 102 calls, radio transmissions that were missed.
Yep.
It says, instead, we found that Secret Service received only 5 phone calls and 3 text messages about Crooks. So they're admitting they got 5 calls and texts and they didn't do anything. But what's your reaction?
My reaction is why? Why? Why wouldn't you have reacted from one? I mean, if they would have held him back off that stage and not let him go, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today.
Crooks himself remains shrouded in mystery. Authorities still haven't publicly identified a motive for his attempted assassination of President Trump. You've expressed belief that the gunman, Thomas Crooks, didn't act alone.
I don't believe there was another shooter there, but I believe that he was working with somebody. I believe it was an inside job inside the government somewhere.
And this was political?
Oh, yeah.
Political.
Absolutely. Yep.
Have you seen evidence to that?
Oh, I've been told things, but I've had something that happened with me that just afterwards, and you're starting to put the pieces together, it just made total sense.
What will help give you closure?
when the people who put this all together that day are caught and it comes out.
So if you had a message for President Trump, what would it be?
Just to don't forget us and remember what we went through that day. You know, we're still here and we need answers.
Helen Comparator says it was a year before the Secret Service actually reached out to her. The questions that she did ask, she says they didn't answer them fully, and she's now pleading, reaching out to President Trump, hoping that he will intervene, apply pressure, so she can get answers as to what happened here and why.
Again, that's the widow of Corey Compatore. Forgive me for my mispronunciation. We should have his name actually on the tip of our tongue because his life was taken that day. And she says, "Look, I don't believe there was multiple shooters. You know, there are conspiracies theorists out there. By the way, I don't use conspiracy theorist as a negative term. We should have as many theories out there that we want because the government lies to us constantly, and so just keep that in mind." But there was one theory that there was another shooter on the water tower. I don't know if you guys remember that. Many people still believe there was. Anyway, but she's not even trying to get into that. She's just trying to say, look, it was an inside job. She says he did not act alone. And I think just generally, I don't really care what the government tells us. We have our own eyes. We know what happened, and we have intuition, something called intuition. And I think most people's intuition would look at how the government responded with all of this and is continuing to respond to all of this, as saying that they're covering something up. At a bare minimum, they're covering something up. When that body is taken, when you cremate it, when there's no more questions to ask, and most people don't believe that. I don't buy that. Allegedly, there was a van. Allegedly, there was multiple cell phones. We don't hear anything about that. We have a social media that was, for the most part, scrubbed. I know Tucker Carlson found some things that were still out there, but it's just one of those things. It's like President Trump, I hope he does push this and we get more truth about this. But from what we can tell, that's not happening. The president really just says it's kind of open shut, lone shooter, nothing to see here. And so at a certain point, it's difficult for us to care more than the guy that was shot. And right now, that's the status quo. That's the state of things. Is President Trump doesn't seem to care. All of us seem to care, more so when it comes to finding out what really happened at Butler. Now, my take on this has been consistent really since it happened, which was I believe that it was supposed to be a successful attempt, and I believe that it was going to be a springboard to a potential civil war. Whether those of us on the right, because we would have ended up with a Nikki Haley nomination days later at the RNC, which, by the way, that's a whole nother reason to think about who really had the most to gain. You would have had a Kamala Harris, Nikki Haley race. Very, very terrible. It would have been a springboard for false flag attacks. We would have been told came from right-wing groups. I think there would have been legitimate right-wing anger and potential non-compliance or maybe violence. I mean, it would have legitimately. They could have used the real violence or the fake violence, the false flag violence, to cancel elections. There's all sorts of things that could have happened as a result of this had it been successful. Because I believe that the answers that we got in the immediate aftermath of the assassination attempt would have been the same ones that we got with the failed assassination attempt. And so what did we get? We were told there was nobody on that roof because it was sloped. Now, that was outrageous. That was insane. Had the gun had the gunman been successful, that reason would have been enraging to all of us. Enraging, a national outrage to the point where people would say our government is totally over with. Like, the social contract is over, it's gone. That would have been most everyone's feelings. It would have been obvious. I mean, it was obvious at that point that at a bare minimum, and this is where I still believe, at a bare minimum, there was a larger operation, and the Secret Service were being told to stand down, or, you know, the right people were there to make sure that this guy had just a perfectly planned road. Basically, we're going to open all the doors, kind of like opening up the doors on January 6th. Here, come in. It's like, here's your aisle, man. Here's your red carpet right to the roof where you're going to take the shot. And the Secret Service were, I believe, in on it in some way, shape, or form. Or the FBI was in on it in some way, shape, or form. You know, you've heard it here said on the program. What does the FBI even do? Do they exist to solve crimes? They actually seem to. We'll see what happens tomorrow night with the election stuff. But they actually seem to cover up more crimes than they solve. And then you've got a narrative where you've got FBI handlers with a lot of these shooters that I'm thinking of specifically the Draw Mohammed contest, where you think, wow, they don't only exist to cover up crimes, then they also exist to create crimes in the first place that they then cover up for political ends, for political narratives, whatever the case may be. So I applaud this the widow, Helen Capatori. I applaud her for coming out. Hats off to News Nation for doing the story where she says, I think it was an inside job. I think my husband is dead. She says, I'm tired of all the people out there saying that the assassination attempt was fake. There are plenty of those people out there that think it's fake. I don't think it was fake, but one of the reasons people think it's fake is because the government lies to us all the time, and they want to, and they're also not giving us information. So the longer we go with less information, and the longer people are telling us there's nothing to see here when we all think there is, there's going to be more and more people that start to be convinced that it was fake in and of itself. I don't think that, but that's going to continue to grow, in my opinion. Let me see here. What is this next story here? I got a couple of stories I want to get to. This flashed across the Liberty Daily. Apparently, Vice President J.D. Vance went on the Joe Rogan Experience and said this.
He clearly had connections
about Jeffrey Epstein.
The highest levels of American intelligence.
I haven't heard this yet. I pulled this during the break. Okay, let's listen to this. It's 1 minute long.
He clearly had connections to the highest levels of American intelligence. He clearly had connections to the highest levels of Israeli intelligence. In fact, one of the interesting things the Epstein saga reveals about, and I try to make this point, is one of the reasons why I'm always careful, and I say there are some elements within the Israeli government who don't like our peace process, because there are a lot of elements within the Israeli government that actually do like our peace process. They recognize that this indefinite campaign is not good for them either. And the Epstein thing is interesting because as much as I know, Prime Minister Netanyahu, not a particularly popular person in the United States of America right now, Epstein seemed to be connected to the elements of the Israeli deep state that were left of center. Like, I've always found that fascinating. It wasn't like he was super connected to the right of center of Israeli politics. America, he was connected across.
Well, that's I guess I'm going to go home and watch the Joe Rogan Experience because the clip ends there. So that's kind of confirming what we all know, that Epstein was a blackmail operation, and the entire world, apparently our entire leaders exist, I think, confidently knowing that they have blackmail on this powerful person, and this powerful person has blackmail on them, and they like it that way because it, in a very sick, twisted, evil, wicked way, keeps all of them in the one big old club that we're not in. The one big old club that we're not in. Then there's this other viral video that I did see before the show, and it's directed as an AI, directed by somebody called Josh Dawes, and it's a really good video of the adventures of Mary Sue about how she doesn't want children, but then all of a sudden something happens within her. Motherly instinct gets awakened, and let's just play it. From a pro-family standpoint, this is relevant.
Can you help us with this?
This is good
We
content.
need to pick up some supplies.
We're on a quest.
Oh, give me 1 second, dearies. Hands are full at the moment.
The little kids are going crazy. She doesn't like it. She's disgusted by all of these little children from this innkeeper's brood. But the guy, he's like, hey, this is cool.
Can you imagine a more miserable existence?
What, having kids?
Yes! All the little rugrats. Snotty, loud, demanding, sticky hands, constant noise, no freedom. Why would anyone choose this?
Now the boyfriend's getting involved in playing with the kids.
Here, dearie. Watch Angus while I gather your supplies.
Now she's got the little baby.
Bram? Hi.
This actually happened the other day to somebody on the street, a girl on the street, young girl.
I can take the little guy.
Back off! Who's a perfect little warrior? You are.
Yeah, again, directed by Josh Dawes. And, AI animation is kind of creepy. I'm still not 100% like... I don't know. It is the future. There's really no way around that. But there was actually a clip of in real life of a girl holding a baby, like a young girl, like maybe 16, 17, 18 years old, and she holds a baby for the first time and then just starts crying. And it just something clicks, and she realizes, oh my goodness, like this is my purpose. This is the purpose of life, or a big part of it anyway, right? Glorify God, worship Him forever, but then also it's go forth, multiply, subdue the earth, and this is the mechanism that God created for us to do that. So stuff like this is good when it comes to the culture and trying to fight the anti-family, godless left. Videos like that are good. It's happening all the time. That's all the time that we have. Speaking of time, I'll be back here tomorrow, Thursday, for the show. God bless everybody out there watching. Want to give a shout-out to our sponsors, Red Vive Health, New Horizon Real Estate, Gateway Sight and Sound, Pet Club 247, and Sherrod Chiropractic. We'll see you tomorrow.